On July 23rd, 2026, two documents landed within hours of each other. Satya Nadella published an essay on X called Frontier Diffusion and Control, and Microsoft AI's Superintelligence team published the receipts, hill climbing MAI models for GitHub Copilot and Excel. One is the thesis, the other is the experiment. The essay argues that in a world where software finally has real marginal cost, the winner is whoever optimizes the cost-to-outcome frontier. The blog post shows what that looks like when you actually do it, with live traffic in GitHub Copilot and Excel. Here is where we are going. We will go deep on each claim, check it against the actual numbers Microsoft published, and pull out the parts that matter if you are building agentic systems yourself. If you remember one sentence, make it this one. Let us start with the strange phrase at the heart of the essay, software with real marginal cost. Question 1. Nadella opens with a line that would have sounded absurd 20 years ago. Software has real marginal cost for the first time. Why does that single sentence justify building a whole family of in-house models? Let us unpack it. Some history grounds this. In Information Rules, published in 1999, Carl Shapiro and Halvard E.E. formalized why software ate the world. Enormous fixed cost, near zero marginal cost. Every SaaS business model is built on that assumption. Inference breaks it. Every token an LLM generates consumes real compute, real energy, real money. So Nadella's answer is to optimize what he calls the cost-to-outcome frontier. The unit of optimization is not the model, it is the outcome per dollar in a real product context. That means picking the right model for each task, then optimizing everything wrapped around it, the context, the skills, the tools, and the agent harness. Run the numbers at Microsoft scale. With 50 million requests a day, the gap between a frontier model and a specialized small model is not a rounding error. It is millions of dollars a day per feature. At that scale, routing common tasks to a cheaper model that achieves the same outcome is not an optimization, it is survival. Here is the part most commentary misses. William Stanley Jevons observed in 1865 that more efficient steam engines increase total coal consumption. Nadella invoked exactly this in January 2025. If you believe usage explodes as costs fall, then per-task efficiency is the input to growth, not a defensive cut. That is why this is a diffusion essay, not a cost-cutting memo. The cost-to-outcome frontier looks like this. Quality saturates while cost keeps climbing. Once a capability sits on the flat part of the curve for your task, paying frontier prices for it is pure waste. The whole MAI strategy lives on that flat region. The crisp answer. Next question, what exactly is this hill climbing machine that turns the thesis into models? Question 2. Microsoft keeps using an odd phrase, the hill climbing machine. What is actually being climbed and by what? This phrase carries the entire training strategy, so it is worth deriving precisely. The lineage is clear once you name it. Instruct GPT by Ouyang and colleagues in 2022 showed that reinforcement learning against a reward signal transforms model behavior. AlphaGo from Silver and colleagues in 2016 showed that learning inside an environment beats learning from a frozen dataset. Microsoft's move, announced at Build in June 2026, is to make the product itself the environment. Here is the loop, step by step. An RLE is a sandboxed copy of the product. The same tools, the same harness, the same kinds of tasks customers bring. The model attempts a task, a grader scores the outcome. The reward updates the weights. Then product-specific evils measure whether the score went up. Each pass is one step up the hill, and the evil defines which way is up. The blog post's flowchart as code. Notice what the reward is attached to. Not next token accuracy, not a benchmark score, but whether the finished workbook actually satisfies the task. Microsoft's phrase for this is being rewarded for completing the tasks customers actually care about. Now the non-obvious risk, hill climbing is local optimization on a proxy. Goodhart's law says proxies decay once you optimize them. The interesting detail in the blog post is that the Excel quality claim is grounded in user feedback from production traffic, not just internal evals. Live users are the one grader you cannot overfit quietly. One loop, 5 stations. Data from the product defines tasks. The RLE runs them. The grader scores them. The weights move. The evals confirm the climb. And the improved model generates better data. That closed loop is the machine. The crisp answer. So what happens when you point this machine at real products? First stop, GitHub Copilot. Question 3. MAI Code 1 flash shipped in GitHub Copilot in June 2026. What did it actually deliver? This is the first real test of the hill climbing thesis, so the metrics deserve close reading. First, what the model is. This is not a frontier giant. It is a small, fast model tuned inside the exact harness it ships in. That matters. Most benchmark gaps between lab and production come from harness mismatch. Different prompts, different tool wrappers, different context. Training in the product harness removes that gap by construction. Now the three headline numbers. Higher accept rate means developers keep more of its suggestions. Higher multi-day retention means they come back. And it does this while emitting 10% fewer tokens at the median, better outcomes, and lower cost at the same time. Look at what these metrics have in common. None of them can be gamed by producing more output. An accepted suggestion is a developer voting with their codebase. A return visit is a developer voting with their time. These are exactly the customer outcome rewards the RLE loop was built to climb. Here is the subtle part of this scorecard. The detail worth pausing on is fewer tokens alongside more user-initiated turns. That combination usually means the model says less per turn but earns more turns. Developers are choosing to keep talking to it. Benchmarks like SweBench cannot see that property at all. All four deltas point the same way. A small model trained in its own harness, beating same-size rivals on acceptance, retention, and cost simultaneously. That is the pattern the rest of the strategy depends on. The crisp answer. But the boldest claim is what happened next. They took this coding model and taught it Excel. Question 4. Microsoft took the Copilot coding checkpoint and trained it further inside an Excel RLE. Why is that the most important experiment in either post? Because it tests whether hill climb skills transfer across domains. The difference between a trick and a machine. Transfer learning has a deep pedigree. ULM-FIT from Howard and Reuter in 2018 established the modern transfer recipe, and Madan and colleagues showed in 2022 that code training improves structured reasoning generally. Microsoft bet that an agentic coding model already knows the hard parts, planning, tool calls, checking its own work. Excel would only need to supply the domain. The recipe is continuation, not restart. The same weights that learn to patch repositories are dropped into a spreadsheet gym. The chart Microsoft published shows the climb, pass rates rising from below 72% to a peak of 86% across successive checkpoints, branching into two specialized models, one for code, one for Excel. Then pause, and scenes. Concretely, a graded task looks like this. Multi-step, tool-heavy, verifiable. Exactly the shape of an agentic coding task, with ranges and pivots in place of files and diffs. That structural similarity is why the transfer works. Now the phrase everyone quotes without reading. On par with GPT 5.6 for the most common tasks. That is a precise, honest claim. Nobody is saying the small model matches a frontier model everywhere. They are saying it matches where the traffic is, and traffic, not capability, is what you pay for. Microsoft's own chart redrawn. A steady climb across checkpoints from below 72 to 86%. Every step is one turn of the RLE crank. This is what hill climbing means when it stops being a metaphor. The crisp answer, which raises the strategic question, if models can be swapped and retrained this easily, what do you actually need to own? Question 5. Nadella writes that your evils should continue to hill climb even when any given model has been removed. What does that actually demand of your architecture? This is the control half of frontier diffusion and control, and it is an architectural doctrine, not a slogan. Model routing has an academic trail. Frugal GPT from Chen, Zhu, Har-E, and Zhou in 2023, and Root LLM from Ong and colleagues in 2024 both showed you can route most traffic to cheap models and keep quality. Microsoft is running that play at platform scale. Frontier models from OpenAI and Anthropic remain in the orchestration, and traffic moves to MAI wherever MAI matches or outperforms. The mechanism is strict separation. Everything that accumulates value, the harness, the memory, the context, the skills, is strategically kept outside the model. The model becomes a hot swappable engine. The test of success is brutal and measurable. Unplug any single model, and your evils should keep climbing. As code, the doctrine fits in 10 lines. The evil targets the routed system, never a single model. That one assertion is the difference between owning your product quality and renting it. The subtle word in the essay is saturated. Saturation is the economic trigger. While a capability is still improving fast at the frontier, you rent it. The moment it plateaus for your task distribution, it is a commodity, and you insource it into a small model. Frontier diffusion is that conveyor belt running forever. Draw the boundary of ownership. 4 layers you own and never swap. One layer designed to be swapped freely. Every layer you externalize from the model is leverage you keep. The crisp answer. Next, where the money actually comes from, the GPU fleet beneath all of this. Question 6. The blog post's most underquoted sentence is about hardware. Where do the savings actually come from? The headline is model quality, but the money is in the fleet. A quick map of the silicon. Hyperscalers hold enormous installed bases of A100 and H100 class hardware bought over half a decade. Frontier scale models increasingly need the newest accelerators to serve economically. That mismatch is a liability, unless you have small models to feed the old fleet. The savings multiply across 3 axes. A smaller model costs less per token. Token efficiency means fewer tokens per task, and the same model fits on older, cheaper, already depreciated hardware. These are not additive savings, they multiply. Multiply modest-sounding factors. A quarter the effective compute, 90% of the tokens, roughly half-price silicon. The product is nearly an order of magnitude. This is why Nadella talks about a fraction of the tokens rather than a fraction of a benchmark point. The non-obvious part is accounting, not engineering. Microsoft already paid for those A100s. Every task an MAI model serves on them is revenue generated on hardware that was otherwise aging towards scrap. The blog post says this significantly lowers the cost of deployment. For a hyperscaler, that phrase is worth billions. Relative cost per common task, illustratively. Each bar is the same customer outcome for the common case. The strategy is to slide as much traffic as possible down this chart without the user noticing any difference. The crisp answer. Last question, what does any of this mean if you do not happen to own a hyperscale cloud? Question 7. Nadella closes with a claim that this is a template for every other AI native SaaS or enterprise company. Is it? And what would copying it take? This is where the essay stops being about Microsoft and starts being about you. First, the offer on the table. Microsoft is not just describing its internal practice, it is productizing it. The pitch: bring your workflows, your data, your definition of a completed task, and run the same hill climbing loop through Foundry and Frontier tuning. The playbook compresses to 4 steps. Notice that 3 of the 4 steps involve no model training at all. The scarce asset is a trustworthy grader for your domain. If you can score task completion automatically, everything downstream is machinery. Here is a complete grader for a support workflow. 8 lines. Every line encodes something only you know. Your refund policy, your escalation data, your tone standards. That knowledge is precisely what a generic frontier model does not have, and what no competitor can copy. Step back and the strategic map has redrawn itself. If saturated capabilities keep diffusing into cheap specialized models, then weights depreciate by design. What appreciates is the thing that directs the hill climbing. Your evils, your environments, your record of what a good outcome looks like. That is the new moat. The same 5 stations with your name on them. Microsoft proved the loop on GitHub Copilot and Excel, and is extending it to Copilot Chat, Outlook, and PowerPoint. The essay's argument is that nothing in the loop requires being Microsoft, only owning your evils and your environment. The crisp answer. Let us close by compressing everything into 4 ideas worth keeping. We covered a lot. Here is the whole argument in 4 ideas. Idea 1, economics first. Idea 1, software now has real marginal cost, so the cost to outcome frontier, not raw capability, is the thing to optimize. Idea 2, the hill climbing machine makes the product itself the training environment, with customer outcomes as the reward and product evals as the hill. Idea 3, the Excel experiment showed hill climb skills transfer across domains, the evidence that this is a machine, not a one-off. Idea 4, control means model independence. Externalize the harness, memory, context, and skills, and let every model, MAI, OpenAI, or Anthropic, be swappable. One thing to watch going forward: both source posts are linked in the description. Nadella's essay on X and the Superintelligence team's results on Microsoft.ai. Read them side by side. Thanks for watching.